Magazine? So fucking cool magazine. Okay, cool. Hit it. Hey, we're the Holy White Hounds, and you're watching So Fucking Cool Magazine. Fuck yeah. Brat. Yeah. Brat.
All right, Sofa King Cool here with the Holy White Hounds. How you guys doing, man?
Doing good.
Really good, man.
How's the tour going so far for you?
It's going good.
Tour's been baller. We've been having a killer time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, fill me in, man. I mean, what's it like? You guys are at a starting point in your career. I mean, you guys have been doing some headlining shit on your own. You had another big tour that you went on before this. Right now, Switchblade came out just a little while ago. It's blowing up. You got like 400,000 hits on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got to be a good feeling. You know what I mean? Walk me through that process.
I don't know, man. It's wild times to be alive right now. I mean, considering where we're at right now, we got out of the basement. We're out playing shows all over the U.S. We're just some boys from Iowa, and Donald Trump is president now, and it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen next. I don't know.
Great time to be American, right?
Yeah, great time to be Holy White Hounds in America.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's got to be a good feeling, though. You know what I mean? I mean, like, you guys obviously had a struggle coming up. You know what I mean? Every band did, but now to the point where people actually give a shit about you. You know what I mean? They can hear your song on the radio. They can click on YouTube. Fucking, you guys are trending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's that feeling like?
I don't know. It's strange. I don't think we have time to pay attention.
Yeah, so much of this, I mean, we're grateful for where we are, don't get us wrong, but like so much of these big tours that we do, it's like, oh, we woke up in a new city and loaded in and played the show and it's awesome, glad everyone came, but like there's not a lot of time for like self-reflection, you know, stopping and smelling the roses and stuff. Like we have a phenomenal team and we all love each other, but so much of this is just so surreal right now because we're only 9 months into being signed.
Right.
I'm looking at everybody across here right now like, man, we look haggard. I know I do, so.
Well, people don't realize what it's like on the road, you know what I mean? I mean, this may be the greatest job in the world, being a fucking rock star, but it is a job, you know what I mean? I mean, you're lucky if you know what city you're in today, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As soon as this shit ends, you guys are off to another lucky big city.
We're in Boise right now, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, alright. Nailed it.
You know, it's just, it's rough. It's people don't realize that it's work. I mean, especially when you guys are one of the opening acts that are going through here. You guys are your crew. You know what I mean? You don't got the fucking big, this ain't roadies on Showtime. You know what I mean? You don't got that fucking crew doing all the shit for you and wiping your ass. You know what I mean? After the set's done, you're getting your guitars, your drums, all your shit, you're loading it up, and you're getting ready to go to the next fucking stop.
That's an accurate description.
We do have one angry Italian that works for us.
Yeah.
But
and he does wipe our ass.
Yeah.
We make it.
Well, that's
It's not even dirty. We're just like, Cole, I need a wipe.
okay.
And he knows.
One of the perks, you know?
Yeah.
Gotta have something weird in the rider, you know what I mean?
Have
I mean, some guys don't like the green jelly beans, some guys like their asses wiped. So
Yeah.
we know where you stand now.
A wet wipe and a helping hand. That's all we ask.
That's it, man. Now you guys got another single coming out, right?
Yeah, it's called Blind. Yeah, it's off the same album, Sparkle Sparkle.
Now, what is that like when you gotta go ahead and push everything through? You know what I mean? I mean, you guys are both starting out now, all you guys for you. But you see somebody like Metallica, they just had to put out every fucking song and a video for every song in 2 days just to pump shit up, to pump up a tour that's not even gonna come out until next year.
You think they had to do that?
They're Metallica. I mean, they want to sell albums, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People don't buy stuff this day and age anymore. I mean, sometimes you look through some of the acts, you see what goes through, and when you go to the crowd, you don't see what's there and what should be as much anymore. I mean, do I think they had to do it? If they want to sell some stuff, technically they had to. I mean, they're even taking digs at Guns N' Roses right now, calling them a nostalgia act because they didn't put out an album for their reunited tour.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you, actually. I didn't think about it. When I think about bands like Metallica, I'm still a little naive because they're so huge. I assume that that machine kind of runs itself so well already that the albums will be there. But album sales aren't where anybody wants them to be. So, yeah, we're learning how to push harder and harder. We got 2 singles for this album, and I don't know. Hopefully we have more for the next one, but it's a strange game that we're learning how to play right now.
The diving album sales on everybody, like there are bands that are, you know, hitting #1 and selling more records than anybody else in the world, and things like this. But then you come to find out that their new album, it's number one. They're selling more than anybody in the world, but they're only selling, you know, half of what they sold on their like. It's really just kind of like, it feels like it's an exponential, or like, what do they call it? Exponential drop. Linear's like this, and then that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
A sinking tide lowers all the boats.
and it's a sinking. No, it's not sink. That's not what that's called. What do they call it? Not a sink, but a stream. It's a streaming tide. That's what it is.
That's good.
And because people just stream their music now, and I mean, I don't know whether to feel frustrated about that or just to kind of accept that that's the way it is now.
I mean, man. James and I listened to the new Metallica record on Spotify this afternoon.
What'd you think of it?
It's pretty. It's Metallica. It's just
Got some
Metallica.
callback to the thrash and all that good stuff.
Good.
Very cool guitar work.
I had to take a nap, so I heard the first song and it was cool.
The snare drum is hella loud on every song.
Snare?
It's just like screaming. Awesome.
Stupid Danish man.
Ever since Saint Anger, man, he can't turn it back down. It's louder.
Well, I mean, you guys right now, you guys are at a point where you don't feel that throwback, though. You know what I mean? You know, these bands back in the day were basing album sales and everything. You know what I mean? I mean, a record sale meant the world. Kids were waiting in line to buy concert tickets overnight at venues. Now everything's a click of the button. I mean,
Right.
you're the up and coming. You know what I mean?
Well, you don't have to invest yourself into music very much to have access to all of it.
Yeah.
All you need is a subscription to Spotify or iMusic or radio or whatever that's called, and it's just I don't know. Again, I don't know what to think about it. I really don't know what to make of it because the whole thing is so brand new to us.
Yeah.
You know, when we first started our bands, it was right when like MySpace. Like when we were in high school, that's when MySpace came out.
Right.
And I mean, I feel like that's where it started even more so than like Napster, because that's when bands had to become like social on like social media and the internet and stuff, and that's when bands started changing their tune about how they were going to approach the public. I don't know if it was so much bands are going along with it. You hear about like some artists, some giant artists like Taylor Swift or Radiohead. For a while they weren't putting their stuff on Spotify, and that was really encouraging to me because I, as a tiny little band, I thought, well, that's good news for us. Because that means there's a lot of people who their favorite band is like Radiohead, for example, or I can only think of Taylor Swift and Radiohead were the only two that I remember hearing that they weren't going to put their shit on Spotify, and I thought, well, so many people buy their records and they're their favorite artists, so maybe those people won't get Spotify, and maybe there'll still be people left who buy records because to them, what's the point in getting a subscription to this thing if they can't listen to their favorite band? And so I thought maybe those big bands would save all of us little bands, but in the end it even crushed the big bands.
Right.
And in the end you can find any of those bands that started off saying that they're not going to do that, they're all on there now, you know. And it's just what the music industry and the bands in it caved, and it's not. I'm not putting them down. I don't mean they caved like they're a bunch of, you know, no backbone type of guys. I'm just saying that's kind of how I see it. So I hate this saying, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine.
Could just be a point of change right now too. It seems every 8 or 10 years things kind of get shook up in the music industry. You know, right now it's streaming. 8 years ago is the dawn of social media. 8 years before that you kind of get Napster and Kazaa and all that stuff. 8 years before that you have the rise of the internet. So we could just be in a point of change right now, and everyone's just trying to kind of figure it out.
What if they do like virtual reality, like, you know, the VR goggle stuff? What if they just do, like, I could see bands getting to a point where they play one show a year
360 style.
and then everybody just
go
goes
wherever you
and
want.
everybody has a front row seat and everybody's watching the band, and you know, and then that's all the band really has to do, and they can play in Brazil at the same time they're playing in Stockholm, and that's that, you know. I mean,
You just gave away like a multi-billion-dollar idea on camera. You fucked me.
It wouldn't be. I'm sure other people have thought that. I just.
Well, Vengeful 7 just tried it. They just did the 360 concert for everyone.
Oh, they
really?
did.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard.
That was last month.
What is a 360 concert? What's this?
360 degrees.
Oh, and then they play around the camera and you can see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have seen that
So, like,
before.
you put on your virtual reality goggles
And look around
you
you.
could fucking act like you're Ray Charles, popping up bubbles and shit like a blind man, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But basically, you just look around and you see everything.
And watch them.
Yeah.
That is neat. I mean, you know,
Pretty neat.
because I hate the idea of it becoming so impersonal. But then I've seen some stuff like that. And I'm like, well, this
You
is
gotta
pretty
accept
cool.
the good and the innovation. It's
Yeah.
hard not to.
But I mean, you guys got to realize that touring is where it is. I mean, you're not going to beat a live show. You know what I mean? Even if you got the album, you could hear it on the radio 1,000 times. It ain't going to make a difference unless you go out and actually see that band live, because it's going to give you a different take on the song that you heard a million times. You know what I mean? You're going to get a special connection. You know?
Yeah, well, that's kind of what we're talking about. That's what's kind of missing now is that's the downside of it. There's not a lot of dedication to the culture and the art that way. But on the other hand, you do get a lot of exposure of cool arts, like listening to our song online may do it for somebody. I mean, our song might remind them of another song, they go listen to that, and that's just kind of how it goes now. I don't know. But I'd agree, I do believe that people are missing out on something if they don't go to the live show, because that's what I've always enjoyed the most, and there's a lot more to find there.
Especially when someone, in your case, is up and coming. When you guys are out there, you're interacting with the fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be a memory. That's more than fucking saying, hey, did you hear that song? It's going to be like, not only did I hear the band, I shook their hand. I talked to them for a fucking minute. They signed my shirt or whatever the fuck I bought that day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a story to tell, and that's going to be like, these dudes are, you know, they're fucking cool. You know what I mean? Go out and check them out. And
To be honest, it's almost sad to me that bands get past that point. And I say almost, because I would sure love to be a giant band someday. That'd be great. But it's like when we do that after every show. We try to meet everybody. Anybody who wants to meet us, we try to hang by the merch table. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Depends on the rules of the show. But when we do, or we'll go outside and just, like, you know, have a smoke with people and things like that, and just it's, to me, it's such a strength in the show. It's a part of the show for a band like us, because we're, you know, if we have to be grateful, and we are. And I'm not saying that a band who doesn't do that's not grateful. I feel like I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole right now, but all I'm saying is I like that part of the show, and it surprises me that bands get to a point where that's no longer a part of it, and it seems like...
well, they could charge, though, too. Think about that, you know? I mean,
yeah, but even then, that's not quite...
$1,000 to check their hands.
And that they could, but at a certain point, you'd... and I don't know. It just it does start to feel a little bit hoary sometimes, if you know what I mean. Like if you're gonna
Kind of
which I mean, I love horrors. Everybody does.
Yeah.
It's kind of a corruption of the magic of the live show, what we're talking about. I mean, you could charge for it, but like that magic and that experience you're talking about, if you get to the point where you're charging money for it, it's kind of corrupting like the one of the few pure things left.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, it's a different chance if you guys meet you by chance. You guys are out there smoking a cigarette or doing
Yeah,
something.
right.
You know what I mean?
Well, to put a pin in what I was trying to say, because I feel like I was just blabbing, but I feel like people come out to the show, they pay money to see you, and then when you're able to hang out with them and shake their hand like that, for some reason, it does matter to a lot of people. I don't know why anybody would ever want to shake one of our hands, but I know for a fact that I would sure love to shake one of my heroes' hands, so I do understand the want to do that. And that's the part of the show that makes a band feel like they were able to give back to the people who have given them so much. And if you got to a point in your band where you were no longer able to do that, maybe because there's so many people who love you that if you tried, you'd be, you know, meeting people 24/7, and you gotta have a life too. Maybe that's the reason, but at that point, it scares me to think that maybe it would take away the part where I feel like I'm giving something back, and then it's not like an exchange anymore. It's just a take.
Right.
But maybe it's not like that. It's just something I think about sometimes.
But is it hard for you guys to always be on point? You know what I mean? I mean, this is still a job. I mean, sometimes people have bad days. You know what I mean? There's been plenty of times where I went out to a fast food place, and the girl behind the counter was a cunt, and I'm not going to be like, fuck McDonald's. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the
But
thing.
if you guys were a dick that day, you know what I'm saying? They might be like.
Well, here's the caveat to that, though. And actually, you just probably shed a lot of light for me on the thing I was saying before. At this point in our band, nobody's coming out to see us who doesn't like us. The only people who know about our band are people who like our band. Mm-hmm. When you're a giant band, there's people out there who probably hate you so much that they'll come just to tell you suck. And
The internet's for, man.
well, and that too. But I mean, I think if you had enough people saying that, maybe that's when you're just kind of like, all right, it's time to cut it off. You know, I mean, so maybe that is a reason. But as far as the being on point thing, when you're a band like us, lower level band, you know, single on the radio, and the only people who really care about us are people who like us. So it's not hard to be on point because everybody we meet is so kind. I haven't met a single person who is a dick to me who came up to like the merch. Nobody's come up to the merch table and tell me I suck or worse. You know, you hear about things on the news about things that happen to people where it actually becomes unsafe.
Right.
But we're not in that position, so.
Right.
But one thing I want to focus on you guys is, I mean, you keep on saying that you're a lower level, but you're at the point where you're just breaking out. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're giving people the memories that can last forever. I mean, I can remember when Limp Bizkit was at your point in time. I was fucking... I was fucking 16, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They opened up for Korn, and Fred Durst gave me a cassette tape.
That's awesome.
That says we're about to come out. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
seen him at Warped Tour a couple months later, and he was like, "Hey, I talked to you for 20 minutes. I remember you. It was your fucking parents." And I'm like, you know what I mean?
That's so cool.
I'll remember that forever. People can say whatever they want about the band now, but you know what I mean? When somebody's first starting out, they remember all that shit regardless.
Well, that probably played a big part in his success, that he was such a level-headed people person that he was able to recall that. You meet so many people on stage, it becomes on stage, after shows and things, and sometimes you've been drinking, sometimes you just are like frazzled from the show or you're tired. It becomes really hard to remember people. The fact that he did that is really rad, man.
Right. It's got to be a blur for all you guys now, especially with social media. I mean, I'm sure some of these fans think that they fucking know you guys just because they tweeted you 10 times. You know what I mean? They follow your feed. They know what you had for lunch that day. They fucking read what your name of your pet, and they sent you a couple tweets. You might have liked one. You might have retweeted something.
Right.
Yeah.
In their heads, you guys are fucking best friends. You know what I mean? So when you go out there and you meet them, it's got to be a little bit harder not knowing at SFX or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean?
Right. I guess that's maybe even happened a couple times, yeah.
But after this wraps up, man, let's pump more about you guys. You know what I mean? We've been shooting the shit about other topics.
Yeah.
What's going on? You guys are going to keep on going on the road, I understand, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're with the Pretty Reckless until the 9th, or 6th? 9th.
6th or 9th.
Something like that, and then we got 40 hours to get from LA to Louisville, Kentucky, and then we do 9 days with the Struts, and that'll be a fun drive.
Very cool, very cool. And after that wraps up, what's your plans for next year? You guys got anything installed already, or you guys?
A new record.
Yeah.
Recording a new record, yeah.
Yeah.
And some touring.
Some touring, some stuff's up in the air, but yeah, definitely a new record.
Now, is that hard to put out a new record right away like that? I mean, I understand this one came out just
It doesn't feel right away for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what we work on so much. So no, that is not hard. It's incredibly exciting. Recording the record will be hard. I always forget what a process and what hard work it is to make a record, especially if you're like emotionally invested in it and you want it to be good. It takes a long time to kind of get everything where you want it to be with it, and I forget how hard. I always romanticize every part of this. I'm like, oh, can't wait to go on tour. It's gonna be so fun. And then I'm out there and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I don't get to sleep.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So, but no, right now, it's very exciting. Talk to me a week into making it and I'll be like, torn apart and upset about any part that I feel like I'm not nailing or something like that, But
You guys gotta make your record label very happy to be able to pump something out so quickly. You know what I mean? I mean, 9 months you guys been signed with them, and you guys are gonna have out 2 albums within 2 years. You know, back to back.
Never thought about it that way.
Well,
Think about it when it comes to bonus time, guys. You know what I mean?
well, we feel lucky to be in the position to do that. Like, and hopefully that's what happens. You know, the future is always uncertain. I mean, you know, for all we know, in 2017, not a single band will sell a single record because maybe everybody's just gonna disappear. You don't know. The aliens might come, man.
Yeah, The Leftovers, like on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
Chosen few might get sucked up.
It's like what, like 3% of the population, but it all seemed to happen in one town.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
So, social media, as far as that goes, you guys have your own pages, or is it one thing that the band works with in general, or?
Just one thing. And any website, just Holy White Hounds. It's holywhitehounds.com, or anywhere you go, it'll be a /Holy White Hounds. That's the beautiful thing about having a strange band name that makes no sense, is that nobody else had taken it, so we gotta have all the domains.
Good.
They were open.
We don't gotta worry about going to a .org or a .XXX or whatever is new out there. That's fucking.
XXX, it'll be there someday.
Yeah, it'll be there
2 years.
someday.
But you guys get the groupies, you know what I mean? We'll talk to you in 3 or 4 years from now.
Fan club site.
Yeah.
For chicks.
That's it. All right, guys, I appreciate your time. I look forward to the album coming out next year. The new single is going to be
Blind.
and I'm going to listen to that. When?
When? Well, it's on some radio.
Yeah, it's on radio right now, and there should be some more stuff coming out about it in the next couple weeks.
Cool, like videos and all that shit.
Yeah, there's a like that.
Perfect. All right, guys, thank you so much.
When is this going to come out?
This